Hi everyone, it's Andre Fennell, aspiring future competence and author of Behind the Mask. And today on this lovely, bright, sunny day, I have the infamous Sian Harvey with me. And I met Sian back into 2019 at a brilliant networking event called Business Buzz that's held in the Gym Palace, and it's run by the lovely Catherine Tilbrook, who I interviewed a couple of weeks ago. So Sian and I realised that there was a connection there, and we've met up a number of times since, haven't we, Sian? Yeah,
We have.
yeah, we have, and we get on like a house on fire, and there's lots of synergy between us. So the video today, I'm going to talk to Sian about the subject of living authentically, and I'm going to get her to tell her all about herself and her journey from her previous career into what she's doing now. And then so I'm going to hand over to you. So hi, Sian.
So I originally trained as a holistic therapist about 15 years ago, and then during that time I had hip issues and all sorts. So I retrained in HR and went my way up to become an HR manager, and did that for 7 years. But during that time, I suppose the issue of authenticity kind of came to a head there. And actually, I was dealing with people who there was a lot of stress in all companies, as you know,
Yeah.
and I actually really enjoyed working with people on their stress. So that's when I decided I'm now a holistic therapist and life coach specialising in stress management. So I'm kind of combining all of my experience and my previous jobs that I've done to what I do now, and loving it, and feeling like I'm really doing what I should be doing. You know, that feeling when you're just in flow and you think this, like everything has kind of led up to me doing what I'm doing, really. So
Okay. That leads me into a question. Do you believe now you're living your life's purpose? Because without a life's purpose, that's when people get lost in their way, depressed, in their comfort zone.
absolutely, yeah. And I always, as cheesy and cliche as it is, it was always about kind of making a difference to people, making people feel better, which is why I got into the holistic therapy and then into HR, because it was about, you know, helping people and companies and that kind of thing. But it just wasn't, the holistic therapy wasn't quite there, and the HR wasn't quite there either. Whereas now I've got the fully holistic side of it, where I deal with the physical through the holistic therapy, through reflexology, massage, aromatherapy, that kind of thing, and also the mental and emotional side through the life coaching. So and that really kind of just all gels together beautifully. And yeah, it is, I do, as cheesy as it does sound, I do feel like I am living that my life's purpose now.
Brilliant. Okay. And looking at the background, are you in your little
My cabin.
your
I
cabin?
am.
That's the word. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where you work from.
It is, yes. I've got a wooden cabin at the bottom of the garden. I've got my my treatment couch, and I've got 2 sofas here, which where I do my coaching here and I do my treatments over here. So yeah, I've got a little wood burner as well, so it's quite cozy in the winter.
Looks lovely. Yeah, I have to come and see you to see your
Absolutely.
cabin.
I know, I can't believe you haven't come yet.
No, I know. No, well, obviously with lockdown, we can't do anything
Yeah,
at the moment. But, okay, so that's a little bit about you. And, you know, like you just said, we had a lot, well, like I said earlier, we had a lot in common, because I
yeah,
used to be in HR. And I just felt like you, there was something, I went and trained as a holistic therapist as well. I knew that there was something else that I felt that I should be doing, and it's
yeah,
always, even in HR, it was always a passion for helping other people, like you said yourself. But I felt when I was being constrained, I don't know about you in HR, I was constrained by the rules, the policies, the procedures, the bureaucracy of the organisation, and so therefore the creative me was sort of squashed. But I knew there was other things I wanted to do, and training and coaching were my passion. That's why I stepped out of it. And over the years, it's sort of I suppose that the business has changed and it's metamorphosizing, and through the book, it's changing yet again. It's taking me down a slightly different path, but still helping others, you know, giving back to people and giving them the benefit of wisdom and things you've learnt along the way. And obviously with your massage and your treatments, your reflexology, I mean, I love them. And I don't really think people realise the true benefit of holistic therapy. And obviously you said you've got the mental, you know, with the coaching. So the two combined is a great way, you know, to help others. Anyway, let's talk about authenticity then. So what does it actually mean to you?
So authenticity to me has been quite a, as I think it has for most people, it's been an interesting journey. And for me now, authenticity means, for me, not changing myself to fit in with what I think people expect or want from me. And that was quite a big realization for me, because a lot of the time you hear people say, I need to fit in with what they want or they expect. And actually, it's not really what, well, not all of the time for me anyway, what they do expect. It's my perception of what I think people expect from me. And that little, if that makes sense, I don't know if I explained that properly, but it's me realizing that actually I'm mind reading what they're expecting from me. And I was, you know, talking about behind the mask. I mean, I used to think that people expected me to be loud and fun and, you know, a bit kind of party person. And no one did expect that from me. That was the expectation that I'd put on them about me. So yeah, I think authenticity for me is really realizing that no, people don't necessarily expect what you think they are, and for me not to change for other people and what I think other people want, is to just be comfortable with myself, and act the way that I want to act in most situations. But it's not easy. I think that's the other thing, is that there's so many things around saying you do you and just be you and all that kind of, and I completely agree with them. But it's not easy, and sometimes it's easier to wear one of your masks than it is to not. Yeah.
I suppose it's realizing now when you are wearing that mask and then questioning yourself, why am I wearing this? And, you know, who is my audience? What's the reason behind me wearing this mask today? And sometimes, you know, some self-reflection and understanding, was it because I felt vulnerable? Do I feel, you know, this person is more important than me, or whatever the reason might be? But yeah, we do need to ask ourselves, well, why the hell did I put that mask on in that situation?
Yeah. And actually there was a, when I thought about when I was doing this the book, there was quite a, what's it called, like line going through it, that my two kind of main beliefs were that A, I was boring, and B, I was stupid. So those were the two things that I had, which is why I used to, you know, act like the funny one, act like I didn't know what was going on, and, you know, and just be loud and get drunk and all, you know, those kind of things, is because actually my beliefs of myself was that I was boring and that I was stupid. And that's kind of what was underlying mine.
That's an interesting, because that's, like you said, the limiting belief. So where do you think that those beliefs have stemmed from? Have you thought about that?
I have thought about it, and it's an amalgamation of a lot of things that I won't go into now. but yeah, it's and I think it's important to have that journey with yourself to understand kind of where it's coming from. And I don't think always it's one thing. that happens. It is, yeah, an amalgamation of things that just kind of going along and build up, and it's like tumbleweed, you know, it just keeps on going and building, and you look for things that actually confirm the beliefs that you have about yourself anyway, and it just reconfirms it, and it's hard to break it down. It's really, you know, a lot of my clients say to me, well, how can I stop this? When will it end? When will I overcome those beliefs? And it's a journey. It's a really long, and even when you think you're like, oh my God, I'm done, then something comes along and, you know, whacks that back down again.
Whack. Yeah. That's so true, because you think, you know, you've got your empowering beliefs in place and you've overcome, you know where they've come from, why you feel like that, and then every now and then something goes wrong, or you meet somebody that maybe you feel intimidated by, or whatever the reason may be, and those beliefs, those childhood beliefs, resurrect themselves, and you think, what? And like you just said, it's about, but I think the difference is recognizing those beliefs, knowing where they've come from, and yes, when you're under stress or there's something that's happened that's gone wrong, you will resort to type, you know, that type of behavior. But it's being able to recognize that and pull yourself back out of it. And so many people, Sian, if you do this work with your clients, so many people don't even recognize what the belief is in the first place that's stopping them.
Exactly.
And haven't even managed to unpick that. So they are way, way behind you and I, you know, and many people that have recognized and confronted that belief and done something about it. So it, you know, you're not, what's the word? Basically, you know, we all have nuances, we all have things that go wrong, and when we resort to type, that's fine, so long as you can reflect on that. And I know with my, you know, myself having coaches where they've said, stop, Andre, yeah, you're telling the story, what have you learned from that experience? Doesn't matter what's happened, it's done, you can't change that. What have you learned from that?
Exactly.
And that's probably what you say. I say that to my clients. Okay, what have you learned from it, and what are you going to do differently next time? And that's the important part. So you'll never, I don't think people will ever get rid of those little gremlins, you know, completely. But the ability to recognize when they come back in is
it's
powerful.
empowering.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. So okay. So living authentically, how has that impacted you, either negatively or positively?
I don't think you can really say negatively. I suppose if a loose negative would be that you have to face up to things that you've probably been putting off, and
Shove it in a cupboard or something.
Yeah, the kind of denial box, you know, that so you've definitely got to face up to and make some tough decisions, but positively, I mean, physically I used to suffer with very bad stomach cramps and IBS and headaches and tension everywhere and rashes on my skin and, you know, all sorts. And that honestly has completely gone since I've been living the life that I actually want to live, and doing the things that I want to be doing, and mentally as well. It's freeing, you know, the overthinking, the second guessing, and the self-doubt. And don't get me wrong, I am not completely, I still have self-doubt, I still overthink, but it's significantly reduced, and I also have my ways of managing that and getting over it. So yeah, I mean, you know when you do look back and you think, oh, you just want to give your old self a hug, because you think it's okay, you'll get over it.
So knowing what you know now, what would you tell your old self?
Do you know what? Because I'm very not against, I'm opposed to advice, because I do believe that advice is only good for the person giving it. And no matter, I couldn't say anything now that would make the old me feel better, because I was always going to feel like that until I've experienced what I've experienced.
Absolutely.
And do you know what I mean? And so many of your friends and stuff and people that you talk to will say, oh no, don't worry, it'll be fine, and all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't actually fundamentally make a difference until you've discovered it yourself. So I wouldn't say anything. I'd just kind of probably give her a hug.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, and we all, I mean, isn't it a shame we can't do hugs at the moment, but never mind.
Yeah.
So you've already talked about, changing career and started to talk about your values. So if I said to you, what are your top 3 core values in life?
Happiness, harmony. Those are my 2 massive ones. And actually authenticity is my 3rd, but my 2 massive ones. But all 3 of them, without any of them, I don't get the other one. So if I don't have harmony, I don't have happiness. If I don't have authenticity, I don't have harmony. And, so for me, those 3 are really, really massive in my life.
Yeah, of course they do link together, because without one, you can't have the other. And fundamentally, when I talk about, the strapline of the book, discover the secrets of authenticity, success and happiness to live the life you truly desire, because you can't have one without the other, in my view. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So has there been any have you had any experience of when one of those core values has been impinged in any way? And what was the situation, and how did that make you feel?
Yes, I have had times. In the last 6 months, with everything that's going on at the moment, my harmony, my inner harmony, has taken a knock, and also authenticity, because as I say, I'm kind of opposed to the people giving advice, and whenever someone says, oh, you should do this, or that's been happening a lot recently, and I'm not a very big social media user. I don't watch the news, and I've been doing both of them more than I usually do, and that has been quite tough, really, to see how many people are saying what you should be doing, even though they don't know your personal circumstance, and how many people are judging other people on what they're doing, even though they don't know their personal circumstance. So, and that really gets me annoyed. It's the judgmental bits that have kind of caused me to go out of harmony a little bit inside. So I've just gone, right, social media, is only for the business, and I'll do it, say 10 minutes a day or something. News I've stopped watching again. I only use it for the bits that I need to do with the updates, etc. So yeah, that's been it wobbled me a bit with that, but I'm back on form, so it's good.
Yeah, and I think it's wobbled a lot of people, and I'm like you. I don't. So a coach to me, coaching profession, a coach is somebody, and when I'm coaching, and I think you do too, is I identify up front, before I start working with this individual, what their core values are. Because if their values don't align with mine, they're not an ideal client, and vice versa. I'm not the right person for them. What I don't like is people who say I'm a coach, but they tell you what you should do. Well, that's not coaching. So a coach is a facilitator, an enabler for someone to identify themselves through their own journey. You're just facilitating that journey, aren't you, of learning? And I hate it when people tell me what I have to do.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm stubborn, but anyway. So with regard to the book then, what was there anything particularly in the book that resonated with you and why?
Yeah, I mean, it was the values. I know I sound like a broken record, but they are just so important for me. And I'd done during obviously my life coaching training and that kind of thing, I had done values work, but it had been, and I knew what mine were, but it always helps to reread things and redo it to also check in whether your values are still the same, because my values when I was an HR manager were actually slightly different, and I had achievement in there as well, whereas that's now kind of dropped off. So to check in like with where you are with life, and that, yeah, the values bit definitely resonated with me. But all of it did, to be honest. It's a fantastic book.
Oh, I'm glad you think so. Okay. So as a result of redoing your values, you've now identified that some of them have dropped off, and some of those that you had have sort of like come up the ranking order, so to speak. But you clearly now know what your purpose is, what your values are. Okay. So as a result of reading the book, is there anything that you have, any changes that you've made or any actions you've taken from, maybe some people get a light bulb moment, but is there anything that you've actioned or done differently as a result of reading it?
I have named my masks. I'm not going to tell you the names, they're not appropriate. But
Oh, go on. Mickey Mouse. Donald Duck. No, you don't have to name them, but you've named them.
They're, some of them are a bit rude, so I'm not going to, but they work for me. But they, I think you kind of, once you've done the work and the internal work and gone through the book, you do identify where you're maybe acting slightly differently, changing yourself, adapting yourself when you don't necessarily want to. But actually naming them has helped me really quickly identify, because I kind of did all the brainstorming about exactly what I do, how I act, how I think, how I feel, all the emotions in it, and put that in a little box and call it something. And as soon as now what I do when I am going to be in a certain meeting or do a presentation or something like this, I think that box is going to come, that mask is going to come on. So what can I now do to make sure it doesn't, or what aspects do I want to bring into it, or so that you're in control of it as well, but really kind of naming them and really getting to know them quite well is very, very useful. And also because the names that I gave them were because humour for me is quite a big one, so I've kind of named them things that will make me laugh, and also make them less imposing and less controlling, so I found that really useful.
That's a really good, how you've explained that is a really good way, and for anyone who's listening to this, that is a really powerful example of an activity you can, or an exercise you can do. And I'm going back many years ago when I attended I did a practitioner's course in NLP run by the infamous Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna, who I absolutely love.
Amazing.
And I remember him doing a session on stage about limiting beliefs, and he actually did. He wasn't talking about the mask, but he was talking about, the gremlin inside when you tell yourself, "Yeah, I'm not good enough," da da da. And one of the things he talked about is, putting a picture or a person or a voice to that animate it. And then, so it sounds stupid and inferior, and then literally sort of drawing it and throwing it away. And it's a similar sort of thing that you've just described. And I love it. So anyone watching this, hey, Sian's come up with a brilliant way of eradicating her, her imposter in her life, and getting rid of that silly mask with that silly name and being her true self. That's really good. I like that. Yeah.
It's your book. That's where I got it from. It was amazing. I thought it was, and also how you kind of like designed the mask as well. I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah.
It was all brilliant. I think that also what I do, I've got it here, is how I don't think it matters where you are in your personal development journey for reading this book, because I like to think that I've done quite a lot of work on myself and, you know, internally and mentally, everything. And I still found this book practical, useful, fun. And it's really good actually that you can go to it when if you're feeling a bit like, it's very easy to use, and you can go, right, that's what I need. I'm going to go to it and I'm going to do that thing again, that exercise, or read that chapter. But I also think it's very good for people who haven't done the work yet and are new to this, and are kind of thinking, who am I? How do I act authentically? I think there's no kind of it's not for beginners and it's not for experienced. It's across the board, and I thought that was really clever of how you did it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So that's another sort of hint and tip, because I often come across people who say, oh no, I don't need that. I looked at my self-development 20 years ago when I was in management, or whatever it might be. And you saying that as sort of like, that's, again, powerful, because you said it's not for beginners, and it may be for a 20-something person who is lost, maybe come out of college or uni or started their first job, doesn't know where they're going. Or it could be, I've had people read the book and turn to me who are in their 40s, 50s, saying, I'm at this end of life and I'm lost, and I'm, I've had a broken relationship, or I'm hating my job, I want to do something different, but I'm stuck. So it's for anybody.
Yeah.
And it could be male, female,
Yeah.
it's because I haven't centered the book around female, between this age and this. The book is a general book, and as you said, it's helpful to anyone, and the fact that you can pick it back up
massively. Yeah. And it is practical. And I think a lot of these books, because I read a lot of self-development books, as you would expect, and as you do as well.
I do, yeah.
And a lot of them are very much, those books where you think, right, I'm going to read a chapter and then I need to digest it and go away and have a cup of coffee or whatever. And there are a lot of them like that. And it's all very much think work and in your head, whereas this kind of takes you out of your head and into practical solutions and exercises that you can do to really stop that like whirring of your mind, and actually really understand your thoughts, which is really powerful.
Yeah. And I think, it depends on how much you want to put into it. So at the end of each chapter, as you know, there are a set of action points. And I say to people, that's up to you. You take responsibility for your own development. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but these are some add-on things that you can do if you are really intent on changing your life, your career, or whatever the situation is. So there's lots of ways that you can do that. And some people have said, yeah, I read the book, literally didn't take me long, I whizzed through it, loved it, didn't do the exercises, but I'm going to go back when I have time.
Yeah.
Now I've got an understanding of what the book is and the journey and the case studies and everything else. Now I'm going to go back and sit and do the exercises myself. But well, hey, so thank you very much for that, the little testimonial you've given there, and I'm so pleased that you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's been a great to talk to you today. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish the interview and go on our way?
No, I'm all good. It's been lovely to talk to you as well, and I'm just pleased that I met you, and pleased that I got a copy of the book, and yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure because it's, you know, as I said, we had something in common, and I love talking to you. You're very inspirational, and I'm sure, you know, the people that you work with get so much from you because you radiate that energy. You know that you, I don't know, you're just drawn towards you, Sian. So it's
Thank you.
yeah, you're, you know, you're going to do very well in your business, you know, and I thank you so much for agreeing to the interview today, and thank you for your time out of your very busy week. And we'll have to catch up soon. So
Definitely.
yeah, so if you'd just like to finish off by saying your name and your business, if you'd, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yep. So that was Sian Harvey, Sian Harvey Stress Management.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks very much, Sian. It's lovely to have seen you, and you know, enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
And let me. So we're going to say goodbye, over and out. And it's Andre for now, aspiring future competence and author of Behind the Mask. Thank you.